Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget, Memory Lane. So today we're going to work in our journal side of our lap book. And so what I have decided to do today was to work on the very first page of our journaling side. And so we have 11 items in our map that I thought we would do pages for each of those. So on this front page, I thought we would do a collage because we would have then one layout, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to count these or not. Let's see. 6. I can't get it apart. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that would be one layout also. 11. So we'll have 11 double spreads for each one of the items, the places in our map. So for the front, what I did was I went through a bunch of Reminisce magazines because I wanted this to be kind of vintagey because that's the looks of the books that we have. And so the Reminisce is really fun to go through. And I also went through a National Geographic magazine and a Magnolia magazine. And so just, some different things to try and find items that went along with our map. And then what I did was I ripped them all out, and then I just put them on copy paper and then ripped around the copy paper, and I used tea dye distress ink to go around the edges of each. I thought because they were coming from different magazines and the books that we made the journal out of, they were all different shininess. They were different types of paper. And so I thought this would kind of tie them all together as we collaged them on here. So the things that I chose was because we have a candy store, some lifesavers, a puzzle for the toy store, a game for the toy store, and another game. We've got some animals for the farm. Another game for the toy store. Can you tell I like games? A shoe for the fashion store. An art set for the art store. I have a little Valentine because Valentines remind me of elementary school. A little school box for elementary school. We've got a train for the depot. We've got the set of trees that we stamped out just the other day that I thought might work for the woods. A 4-H certificate for the farm, cat for the farm because every farm needs one or more cats. And then there was every cowboy needs a horse. I thought that was kind of cute and might go on there. A wagon full of hay, a little fish for the pond, and the ringmaster for the circus. And then I found this, it was Dear Diary, really old diary with a little flip in the lock on there with your little tiny key. And I thought this is a journal, which is actually just a diary. And I thought this might be cute to put on there. I don't know that all these will fit. Hopefully they won't all fit because hopefully I have enough to cover this page. And so we're going to do that. And then we're going to work on our pen boxes also. A couple of you lovely ladies did suggest a really good idea. And so we're going to work on that also. So the first thing that I want to do is kind of lay it out because this was straight at the top and I didn't want to rip it and, take all the smoke off. I decided to leave that straight and that it could go right at the very top of the page. So then it's a matter of just deciding kind of what can go where. Let's see, I don't want to cut off too much of that, but I don't want to cover up too much of the train. And I'm going to just put them on, and then I will trim them down, anything that's sticking out over the edges after the whole thing is done. And then What if we put that one? Well, that's quite covered up, but we'll see. You can still tell what it is. Got the school box here. And like I said, we don't need to use all of them, but I just thought that, like, definitely maybe just try one of the games instead of all of them. And what if we put that one there? Yeah, that would still be good. Just trying to see what I'm going to wind up cutting off when I'm done. Maybe scooch this over just a little. And let's kind of set that game aside. Got some little animals here. They're kind of small, so maybe they'll go towards the top. Got the hay and the cat and the 4-H. All of those are farms, so let's see here. I want to put this guy right in the middle. The ringleader of our whole journal. So I want him there. So then what fits around him? We want our little fish for the pond. And we do want to make sure that when we glue these down, because this is already sewn into the journal, we want to make sure that we're a little bit from the edge so that it opens and closes nicely. So if I were to rip this off right here, it would still look like a fish. And then we could put our little 4-H there. Maybe put our high heel shoe down there, but I kind of don't like that. If we put this here and then put this on top, move that up just a bit, and it's just a matter of playing with what you have until you like the looks of it. So this is school. What else do we have here? We definitely want the little diary. Well, maybe that isn't going to go there. We'll see. What about pieces of the puzzle? There, that works because we don't need the whole thing. Our little farm animals maybe down here. And there's a gap there, so let's maybe put the trees behind them. And our little diary right there. I think that looks really cute. I think that that's going to work. Now, if you do you want the kitty there instead? No, I like the 4-H thing. We can save the kitty. We can save all of these for tucks or something in the pages that they go with. So I like the way this looks. It works really well if you can take a picture of it so that you can put everything where you were planning on putting it. But because I'm recording with my camera, that's not going to be really an option. So I'm going to try and kind of scoop this up. Slide it over maybe. So that I have a gist of what goes where, what goes on top of and underneath, that type of thing. Okay, so I'm going to just start then. Because this goes under the train, I'm going to start with this right here. And I think because this is the front page, sorry for all the crinkling, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use wet glue. And I'm hoping that that will work well. Because I really want it to be stuck down well and not peel off. Even though my stick glue is a permanent glue, I'm just afraid that it might not stick as well as wet glue. So what I am going to do, though, is make sure that I spread it out real thin. I want it to be everywhere, but it doesn't need to be super wet where it's going to make everything wrinkly, possibly. And this is just a piece of parchment paper. You could use anything. Use an old magazine or something. Remember to leave an edge along the side. And let's see, I do have a... Let's give it a little rub. There we go. Now, I also want to put a piece of cardboard underneath of there. And yes, that will fit without having to cut it down there. There, that way I'm not getting glue all over the page behind it. And it gives me something really flat to press against, even though we haven't put anything in there yet. So after that, I think we want the train, because then the art set will go on top of the train. So again, I'm just going to put it on here, making sure that I get it. The most important thing is I want it nice and thin and get it all the way to the edges. But if they lift up later, because you didn't quite get it out there, you can always just go in and just put a little bit more glue. On your underneath. And if it's just a little spot or whatever and you're having a hard time getting the glue underneath of it, you can always just use like a toothpick or something and put your glue on the toothpick and then just rub that toothpick underneath, or just anything like that, anything that's tiny and flat. Okay, so this we were going to put on here, and I think it was a little off the edge. Okay, I'm going to press it down well and then peel it off that cardboard so it doesn't stick there. And just take a little bit of our parchment and put that underneath there. It's got a little bit of glue on it, and so that way it's going to stick to the cardboard right there. Okay, so then next was the school box. Was right there. And so this is just, you know, it's just a fun way to kind of bring together all of the things that we're going to have inside and decorate this front page. You know, I could have just taken like a whole page out of the circus or whatever, but I wanted it to reference everything that was inside this little journal. And then on those pages, we'll make some tucks and we'll make tucks and pockets and journaling cards and places to write. Where's my smoother? Because I really... I want to make sure that I get that down well. Let's see, I think then we will... The fish goes there, but I'm a little leery about him yet until I get... I think I want to put the ringmaster on. But this one goes... right in there. So it's just a matter of playing around with it, see what kind of layout, just deciding what you want to do. Your collage doesn't have to be like this if you're doing a collage. You know, there are lots of different types of collaging methods, and, you know, people use fabric and paper and all sorts of things. You know, because these were out of magazines, that's why I backed it with paper. I didn't have to, but that's just kind of what I wanted to do. And that is the whole point, is to do whatever you feel. I hope I'm putting that in there kind of the right way. I have a feeling that was supposed to be at a different angle, but we'll see. Okay, now I want to see where this guy is going to be. Where's my... And this is just like a thing from a recycle store. You can use a credit card, you can use a heavy piece of chipboard, or you can just press it with your hand. I just kind of like to smooth across them. Alrighty, now I kind of want to see where he's going to go, because I think... Okay, let's see, this was here, and it was over a bit, so he might have been over a bit. So what did we have here? We had our animals, and our trees, and our diary. Okay, and then this one. All right, so our fish. I think I may put the fish on top of these, get these down first. And I think he's going to come over here. These are underneath of him, so I'm going to put those two down first. These are on top, so they'll go down next. Okay, this one first. We still have our shoe too. So I hope that if you're playing along that you're having a good time. I hope if you're making a journal, you know, that you're just enjoying doing all the little different bits and parts to it. I have a lot of people ask me, well, what do you do with your journals? And the answer to that is, you know, that's so different for everyone. The journals that I make in this series, I always sell those at the end. I do an auction. I do have a lap book that is mine that I use, and I've had that for a few years because I replenish what's in it, you know, and so I don't necessarily have to replace it all the time, because I just put new paper in it, new tags in it, or whatever. I kind of sometimes group together whatever it was. If I go on a trip, sometimes I will take out the things for that trip and group them together and put them in an envelope and set them aside. You know, a lot of people like to have a journal that they just put the whole journal aside. And it really just, it's all like up to you what you want to do with your journal. You could give it as a gift. You know, you could have different journals for different things. I have the calendar we made at the beginning of the year. I carry that in my purse. And I carry my lap book when we go on trips. I am not a big journaler. I don't write in my journals that often, mostly just if we go on a trip. Like when we go to see our daughter. But other than that, I don't write in it a lot. To me, a journal is more about creating. And so that is really, you know, my sense of it is, it's not about writing in the journal, it's creating the journal. I'm going to rip this guy right about here, I think. I enjoy creating the journal. It's the art portion of the journal that is what's good for me. So, you know, we all have, you know, things that work for us. And, you know, for me, it's creating. So, you know, writing doesn't get things off my mind, but creating does. And so, you know, that is what I do. And a lot of people like to write their feelings down. And that's what makes them feel better. And so then that's what you should do. And, you know, you can use a journal. I'm going to have to put some more glue on this because I really want to. I want a little bit of brown on that edge, or to me, it will really stick out. Whoops. Uh-oh. I'm sure I can figure out where to put those. Okay. But, so yeah, this is the part I enjoy. I enjoy the creating part. I enjoy sharing what I've created with others as far as like, look what I've done. That makes me happy. And even if I don't do anything with what I've created, I'm okay with that too. I have journals that I have created that I have, you know, before I started selling them. They're sitting on a shelf. And that's okay because they were just, you know, they were good for me when I did them. I really enjoyed making them. And that's supposed to be the whole point of it. No matter what you're making, if you like making flowers, make flowers. You know, hang them on your curtains, sit them on your desk, stick them all on a string, and make like a garland out of them. You don't have to have something to do with them. Just if making them is fun, make them and have a really good time. I have lots of things hanging from my curtains and that type of thing. When I make something I really like, I hang it somewhere. Got a little extra glue on him, so just wipe it off as I go. There we go. Alrighty, we only have just a few more, and then we are going to put pulls in our boxes. Alright, so let me see, where are these gonna, they're gonna go here. So this is going to go right there. There we go. See, and these were our leftover hedges. I always stick my little extra bits aside because you never know when they're going to come in handy somewhere else in your journal, and then it just kind of draws everything together. And it can also just be very eclectic. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the rest of the book if you like whatever it is that you're thinking about doing. Maybe it's just an idea book. You have an idea, and so you just go put it in there. Okay, two more things. We've got our diary and we have our shoe. I had to go back and find something that went in the fashion store. Although I don't have anything for the hardware store. And I think that's it. I think that's all I'm missing is something for the hardware store. I was going to put a cog on here. That's what I was going to do. And maybe at some point I'll come back and I'll do that. Because I'm sure there's someplace here that a cog would look nice. Put our little shoe right there. And we'll have this part all set except for trimming it up. And then normally what I would do is something like this to keep the paper underneath flat is I will come back when we're all done with what we're doing today. And I will stick a piece of parchment paper on top of this. Even though it is already partly dry, it's damp for a while. And so I'll put parchment on top, set a book on top of it, and let it dry nice and flat. So there we go. Now, we've got our extra part here. I'm just going to turn my book around so it's more comfortable the way that I'm cutting. There we go. And let's see how it looks. And there we go. There is the first page. I like the way that it looks. I think it's really cute, and it has all of the different things. So I am going to put this back underneath of it so it doesn't dampen the page underneath. I've got some wrinkles here, so I'm just going to kind of smooth on those a little bit, even though that doesn't make a difference because we're going to put something on there anyways, but it doesn't hurt to do that. And then I think what I'm going to do is grab a piece of parchment. I'm going to do this part right now because we're going to be working over here, so I think that that'll be okay. And then we'll just slide this over a bit. Make sure that you can see. Okay, this is where we're going to work today, or now. So I need to wipe off. I need to get this glue off my hands real quick. Spray some water on a paper towel. And don't drip it on my book. Okay. There we go. That's good enough. Okay, so originally we have the pen boxes here. And I had said I was going to make something to pull the pens out and to open the top of the box. And this is what I made. So, and I was actually going to put a little piece of ribbon on the top of the box to open the top. And then this would hold the pen so you could pull it out. And I had two of you say, why don't you try doing like they do with batteries, the way that they put in the little ribbon for the batteries? That is such a good idea. So that's what we're going to do. I have a piece of ribbon here that I thought looks really nice with what we have going on here. And so I'm going to just shut that back down. So what I'm going to do is I want a loop at the top of, hold on a minute, I still have glue on my hand. I want a loop at the top of my flap. And, okay, I'm going to show you what we're making because I need the pencil. All right, so this is what we're going to do. And thank you so much for the idea because it was a wonderful idea. Alrighty, so I made a loop around a pencil, but this is what it's going to look like. Although I don't have a pen in it, but it will look like this. We'll still decorate the box and everything, but this loop is so that you can open the top because it's tucked down in there. But once you open the top, this will be out here, like this. And I'm going to put a button on here that will kind of weigh it down a little bit. And if we need to, we can always put some Velcro or something to hold that there. But we are going to be able to want to grab that. So, but I thought a button would work really nice to hold that down. But we'll be able to open up this. And then our pen will be down inside. Like that. So once we open it, we'll be able to take this and pull our pen right out of there. So I've attached it to the back of the lid, and then all you do is you take your pen, push it down in there, and close the lid. And like I said, we'll put a little button on here to give it a little bit of weight so it's not just flopping. Plus, once it's been sitting there for a while, then it will stay there. But so that's what we're going to do. And so now I have the pencil, and we're going to just make that. So the first thing I really want the weight of this book on here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a loop. I dropped it on the floor. And I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this because it doesn't soak through. You could also, you can sew it together. But I'm just going to wrap this around a pencil because I want that loop at the top. And I was sticking it with the Fabri-Tac, so this was a better way to do it. Just put a little dot of the Fabri-Tac on here, which is not going to come out because it's clogged up. There we go. Okay, so just put a little bit at the end of our ribbon. So down now. Oh, the other thing is, I'll tell you how long this is, but it all depends on your box and everything. This is 8 inches long. Okay, so we're just going to put a little dot of glue there. It doesn't need to be a lot. And then we're just going to wrap it around our pencil. And there we go. I'm going to put it on our lid, pretty much in the middle. That looks like that's about the middle. So I'm going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac right there. And that's right on the front of our flap, because then this will stick right up above our flap. Okay, so we're going to put that there. Hold that there and take our pencil out now. And then I'm going to open this up, and I'm also going to glue it to the front and the top of the flap so that it's held in that spot, so that it doesn't go anywhere. That will also make it more sturdy when you're pulling on it, both pulling on the loop and when you're pulling it out from inside. So we'll just press that right down there. And I'm coming right to the edge of this on the back. And that is all there is to it. Except for, we'll take our pin, put a pin in there, hold that where it's at because we just glued it. Okay, and then I'm going to just kind of line this up with that. Make sure my pen is on the bottom. And I'm going to trim a little angle right there. Just like that, so that it comes just to the bottom of our box when it folds over, like that. And then I am going to put a button right on the bottom of this ribbon. And I didn't bring a button, but I have one right here. So let's grab some buttons. I'm getting a button and I'm getting some thread and a needle. Sorry about that. So we've got some buttons here. So let's just see kind of what we have now. Do I just want a red one? That's going to really blend in. Maybe just a darker one. Like a black. I kind of like that. I can't tell if it's black or navy blue, but I like that. It tones the red down a little bit, and red is not my favorite color. So I did get red thread. And we'll hope that I can get the needle threaded. These look like they have a decent sized eye in them. They feel a little bit rusty or something. Oh, I think I had it. And then I let it fall out. Maybe I didn't have it. Okay, I just kind of pinch my thread between my fingers, line the eye up, and then just press that down a little bit. I find that when I try and take the thread to the needle, it just bends this way and that way and everything else. Okay, I want to double my thread. So I want to make them both the same length. And then roll it, go around your finger, hold it there, go around your finger like this, and then roll that back one over top of the front one. Just roll, roll, roll till it comes right off your finger. Then grab that circle and pull, and that will give you a knot. Okay, and I'm going to trim this knot down a bit, and then I'm going to pull on it to make sure that didn't make it loose enough to come off. And then I am just going to, let's take that pen right out of there. Bring this up here. And just come through the back. You can do it however you like to do it. You can go top to bottom, or I like to cross corner to corner. And do it a few times so that it doesn't fall off. And it makes a pretty little red X on the button. So that's kind of cute too. And because we chose the darker button, you really can see the red thread on here. Whoops. I think probably one more time will be good. Because we doubled our thread every time we sew through it, we've got 2 pieces of thread holding it down. So there we go. I think that looks sturdy enough. And then I'm just going to come back through here, go through the string that I just put there. It makes a loop. Put your needle through the loop and give it a pull. And I know a lot of you already know this, but sometimes I get questions and I forget that some people are really, really new. So if you already know this, but again, put it through the string, it makes a loop, put your needle through the loop, and give it a pull. And with 2 knots like that, I feel comfortable cutting it fairly close. I'm going to take my needle, stick it in there. Just kind of straightening out my ribbon, because the needle kind of pulled on it a little bit. And we'll put our pin in there, like that. Tuck in the top of our box. So there we go. So now we have our little pull tab here. And we have our, I'm going to put the pencil back in it to hold that loop while it's drying, just so in case I got extra glue on that ribbon that it doesn't like glue together. It could glue together, that's not a big deal, but I wanted it to be a little loop. So there we go. So now that's what that looks like, and that's going to make it so much easier to just open it up and pull our pen right out of there. So to those of you who suggested that, thank you so much. I meant to go back and try and find your comments and write your name down. I do apologize, but that was just such a great idea, and I really, really appreciate it, because it's much better than the card that I had in there. And the card that I had in there was getting, every time I opened and shut the map, it was in the way. The ribbon won't be like that. You know, even if it moves the ribbon, it's not hard like the cardstock was. So just put those over there then. And we'll just look really quickly at what we did today. So again, we have our collage for our front page. So maybe next week we'll figure out what we're going to put here. I'm thinking of putting a whole piece out of one of the books on this section here, but we'll see. And then we'll also need to decorate this to go along with it. But I like the way that that turned out. I think that that looks really cute. So we've got lots of different things that go with our town. And that's just what it was all about. It was about making a map with different things on it. That was the request, to make our own map. And so I think that that is turning out very well. And then on the other side, we're not going to do this side yet because this is going to be a lap book. This is going to be the spine of the lap book. And this page will more than likely be completely covered with whatever we start with. Because with the lap book, you have lots of things that are different types of tucks and that type of thing, or pockets or envelopes. And so it will start by covering this more than likely. So we won't do this yet until we get to that section. And I'm not so sure if we will finish this section before we move over there, or if we'll just kind of go back and forth. We'll see how that all works out. So there we go. That's what we have for today. We have this wonderful, wonderful pen remover, and it opens our box also. I just think that was such a great idea, and why I didn't think of that, I don't know, because it was a great idea. So thanks again. And then we have this, which we are going to weigh down and let it dry nice and completely before we move on. So there we go. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. If you get a chance, watch a commercial here and there. If you want to make sure you don't miss a video, if you click the bell button, YouTube will let you know when I put up a new video. But I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.